Well, hello and welcome back. Today we are building a beautiful no-cost terrarium. Yeah, completely free. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm using one of my old jars here. You can get these at Dollar General for like $4 or $8, something like that. I'm using some soil that I found beneath a fallen tree. Yeah, and I scavenged everything here from a parking lot, so it's going to be kind of interesting. I'm not using a drainage layer here, which may come back to bite us in the future, but I'm curious if we can run without one in this terrarium. If things go sideways, I will have to build another terrarium and we will use a drainage layer. Don't freak out, but I think we'll be okay. So this soil resembles leaf compost in consistency and texture. Should be a fine, useful bit of landscaping material in our project here. And we're going to build a little bit of a hillside. I'm kind of, I have this vision in my mind, and I always want to build like some kind of mossy hillside, but I think that translates well to a terrarium. We have a lot of depth that comes with these different elevations. And now I'm going to include some sweet gum leaves. Turns out we have our very own sweet gum tree, and that's really cool. I did not know that they even occurred in this area. But these leaves will eventually break down and add material to the terrarium. I'm also trying to mimic the material that the moss was found growing on. And again, I did scavenge this moss from a little parking lot area. I was plant shopping. And here it is. I'm not sure about the species of the moss. I am in southern Georgia, and you'll get a good look at it here and there. Maybe you can help identify it. There are also a ton of small plants that are mixed in with this moss. And I found this growing in some cracks on some asphalt, along with some sand and some dirt, some other things, some little twigs and stuff, some pine needles. And we're just going to add this in here, and we're going to try to build up our hillside. I talk about depth in a project like this, it makes it look larger. If I had just a simple flat jar with some dirt inside, a flat bottom, you can still grow moss in there just fine. And it's very cool, but it looks very flat. And to me, that's not really natural. There's always going to be a little hole, little incline, steep cliff, things like that, even on a small scale. Maybe not in our backyards nowadays, as we've leveled everything out very nicely. But naturally, yes, elevation would change dramatically as you approached a large tree, for example, roots and erosion, things would change the elevation quite a bit, even on a smaller scale like this. So we're just adding our various mosses in here, our small plants that are mixed in with them as well. I'm hoping that we captured some springtails or isopods or, things like that. Who knows? It's not the overall goal with this project. Really, it's just to grow this moss. I found it in the wild, while urban collecting, you could say. And I was intrigued. I want to see if we can't get this to grow. And maybe we can add this to our moss collection. And, in retrospect, having that lighting overhead is not the best for building a project like this. But the moss is looking really good. The terrarium is looking very interesting. And I kind of want to leave it like this, but I have another idea for some way that we can mix it up. And I think that what we'll do is we'll add some marble stones in here. You guys know I can't help it. I have to put marble in everything. It's some kind of compulsion. But first, I do want to add a little bit more moss here and kind of build up our back wall. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. And we'll give everything a light misting with our little water bottle. Just a little misting, a little moisture. This stuff was not entirely dry when I collected it, so I don't want to add too much water. That soil was pretty dry, so it'll be okay. Now, these marble chunks, these are the only things that I paid for inside of this terrarium, and I just happen to have a very large bag. You can consider this maybe, I don't know, maybe 50 cents worth of marble, something like that. And of course, I didn't have to use these marble stones. I'm sure I could poke around a little bit and find something, you know, locally, something available for free. I just didn't want to take any stones from the parking lot. But here we're going to make a small adjustment using our tweezers to kind of tamp down some more moss. I want it to grow on these stones if it will. Uh, some species do really well, and they seem to enjoy the pH of a concrete or like a marble chunk. And now we're just going to wipe everything down a little bit. I need to clean my gloves as well. I will occasionally go rinse off my gloves during a build because I don't want to use, 5 or 10 pairs. I want to use one pair if we can. And if it's just a little dirt, I don't see a reason we can't just wash it off. So if you occasionally see my gloves looking like they're wet, and then you know why. So the terrarium looks great, you guys. I'm going to give it another shot of mist, a little bit more water. And I'm very excited about this project. It looks really good. Now, I will be running this with a lid, a simple lid that we'll see in a few minutes, but there will be a few small air holes to allow for some oxygen to transfer into the project, some atmosphere to exchange with the outside world. I'm just wiping it down now. I have secretly tried a few sealed terrariums off screen, and I can never get them to work out. I have no idea what's wrong with my concept, my projects. We are going to add a bit of Spanish moss here. That's that weird stuff that you see hanging from trees, especially down here in the south. And I've tied it to a little twig to make a kind of like a little tree in our project here. It may or may not survive. I hope that it does. But if nothing else, it should be loaded with tardigrades, water bears. So yeah, maybe we'll get them in here. Even if we can't see them with our current equipment, that might change in the future. So it'll be cool to have them possibly on hand. And there's a better look at the little tree, the little ball of Spanish moss. I'm actually hanging some of that in the fish room right now to make sure that it hopefully cuts down on some of the dust in there. You may see some dust on my jars occasionally. But the project looks amazing, and we're just making a few small tweaks with our tweezers once again. I really want this moss to grow on top of the marble. You've seen that a little bit in the moss farms and some of my other recent projects. I think it looks really cool. And we can always use a piece of mossy marble for a future build. Imagine a little sealed polydarium with a little island with a little piece of mossy marble. I think that'll be really cool. So now we're just going to paint some happy little trees here, some little clouds, and some things like that. We're going to add 1 or 2 more marble chunks just for fun. I want to have like a nice centerpiece here. I'd really like to have like a, almost like a crystal or something. I have to look around on eBay a little bit more. Every time I've tried to buy crystals, they never send them. It's the weirdest thing. I'll be like stalking the auctions on eBay looking for like really good deals, and I'll occasionally get some quartz or something for like 83 cents, and they always refund it. They never send it. It's really weird. I guess because they expected the auction to go for more. Who knows? But the tank looks good. There's the little hat lid that I was talking about that will help to prevent any unwanted intrusion into the project. And the terrarium looks amazing. This is a couple days later on my shelf here, and everything is green. It's blooming. It's thriving in there. And in fact, there is a little teal plant in here, which I think might be a lichen, but it was mixed in with the moss, and you should be able to see it scattered around the project here. A number of these little plants are also very interesting. I'm excited to see what they might turn into, and it looks like we might even get some moss to grow on the twigs that we added. That's really cool. Yeah. And here is a better look at some of the moss. Again, maybe you can help identify it. I am in southern Georgia. I happened to find this moss in a parking lot and right next to a parking lot in a little wooded area. So it's not exactly deep in the wild or anything. There's a look at that weird teal plant. You can see its little structures there, and it's got a very different color. So I am thinking that might be a lichen based on the other lichen that I've seen, uh, which are really cool. It's like cyanobacteria and fungus working together to act very much like a plant, and I think that's really cool. There's another shot from the right side of the terrarium, and I'm really excited about this, you guys. I think it looks amazing in here. Yeah, check it out. That moss is very spiky, and it is forming little branches, and I'm going to do my best to identify it right now. Let's see what we can figure out. Guys, it turns out that I do not have a positive identification on this moss. My apps are throwing all sorts of different things at me, and maybe we just need better pictures, or maybe the AI technology isn't exactly there for moss at this scale. Who knows? But maybe you can help, one of you experts out there. I'd be eternally grateful, and I would, of course, give you a shout out in a future video. But the tank is amazing. I am super happy with it, you guys. We've made a happy little terrarium, a very nice little hillside. I think it's a better scape than my large 5-gallon jug, but I do like this one. I like that one as well. I'm getting into this. I'm becoming Terry, the terrarium guy. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and to my YouTube members. I hope everyone's having a great day out there. Please remember to smile and enjoy yourselves. Life is short, and let's make the most of it. Have a great day.